Good morning and welcome to my garden. And as you can see, we have our helper here this morning. But to talk about tools, we'll start with these cutting tools. I like a long handle loppers. This pair is not the ideal, but I get by with them. This was a really good pair. It came from a supply company of Orchard Supply. I've had it over 40 years, and a cheap old knife. I don't want stainless steel because they're too hard to sharpen in the garden. This is just an old steel bladed knife. Dig with it. We can dig with it. We can cut off roots. We can snip off, reach in there and pop off that head of cabbage. Pretty handy. Watering cans. These are yard sale watering cans. Nothing fancy. Kitties, kitties, kitties. Know the volume of the can. We put a little fertilizer in that can, soluble fertilizer when we're transplanting. Shake it up with some water. Fill the can, and we can give a drink as we go to our transplants. Short-handled hose. I like short-handled hose. See, this is not a very long handle on this hoe. Good for marking off, for making our beds, working in our beds. We don't have that long handle. We get down fairly close to the plant where we're working. We don't make near the mistakes. This one here was one that had a long handle. It was broken when I bought it. Gave about $1/4 for it. Cut the handle off at the right length for transplanting. Cabbage I can hole, mark, if the kitty will let me. Come on, get down. Mark and dig and mark, just using the length of the handle as our guide. For tomatoes, artichokes, 2 handle lengths. Works quite well. Our traditional long-handled hose. These were made from recycled disc blades. Quite good hose. I bought 3 of them at once. About 21 years ago. One of them I completely wore the blade out. Of course, we do sharpen these, so that shortens their life, but we keep these sharp. And these need sharpening. I wore one completely out. This one here is showing some wear. And this one here was brand new. It was hanging in the shed. Almost brand new. It was hanging in the shed until I needed it. Considering they're agricultural disc harrow blades, they're pretty good steel. An old grub hoe. This one here I had to replace the handle. I've had this, again, over 40 years. These heads are pretty available. The handles are a little harder to find. Started with a green hickory stave, roughed it out. Now I'll let it dry. It's just about there. Finished a final fit. Saw in a split in the end to put a wedge in. Fit this head good. Sand this handle off. For digging thistles, sprouts. Pretty handy. Busting up hard clay wads. Our fork. I like a 4-tine fork with a standard handle. For turning compost, moving manure, etc. Everybody needs a compost pile. And if you want a good 4-tine, I do not like a 5-tine. If you ask at your hardware store, they'll probably order you a good 4-tine. Garden rake, steel tines, fiberglass handle. Another yard sale find. The handle was weathered like this when I got it. We get our beds spaded, rake them off, bust the clods with our grub hoe, rake that puppy off, and we're ready to go. Spading fork. The next tool, and it's probably the most used tool in the spring, it gets used year-round, turning the beds. This one has a D handle. I do like the D handle for turning. We want a good quality spading fork because it is something that gets used a lot. You notice I didn't say anything about a tiller. I have one. I don't hardly ever use the thing. In fact, it hasn't been used in 5 years. And I grow a quite a large amount of produce. I feed myself and my neighbors, 2 of my neighbors, plus have more to give away. And I use just hand tools, and I do it after work. Kitty, please, get over there. But here's a spade, the main tool used to break up sod, dig with. We don't dig. Digging is done with a spade or spading. Shovels are used for shoveling. This one here, my brother bought me 2 of them. You can see the handle cracked. The blade is too long. It's flimsy. It's bent there. I broke one of them across there. The manufacturer of this tool needs to get his stuff together. He wants to sell me any more of their spades. This is one I bought from a supplier of European tools. Shorter blade, heavier. It has this little bit of a flair to it to strengthen it. Much better spade, nicer footrests, heavier shank. You see how this here is crimped here versus the plastic sleeve. Handle's really nice, right length, so longer handle on it, but not too long. Really a good spade. I laid out at the time about 26 bucks for it. Not too bad. Our round nose shovel. This is one I do like a long handle on, and I like these big footrests there. Makes it nice for pushing into the soil. Again, this manufacturer paid attention. That nice collar there. Fiberglass handle. I'm not a fan of fiberglass handles, but good wooden handles are getting hard to find. A square nose shovel, an older one, wooden handle. Pretty good little tool. I did replace the D handle on it because it had a wooden one and this was rotted when I got it. Yard sale find. Steel bedded contractor's wheelbarrow. You can use a wooden bedded one. Steel wheeled. This one has a rubber tire. We need a good wheelbarrow to move materials and a bucket. Just a used 5-gallon bucket. Clean bucket. And that pretty well covers our tools. Have a good day and keep growing.